what do you actually want? Have you met the leaders that have this implicit kind of conditions and expectations that you just never seem to be able to reach? And it's always leaving you feeling out. Well, that's what I want to talk about tonight, just a little bit, is mentor leaders never hold implicit conditions and expectations against you. They clarify, they communicate, and they clearly celebrate all relationship. Now, what happens is it's so easy that, and you've met them and I've met them, where you have to sort of try and figure out through a minefield on how to reach some kind and attain to some kind of relationship with this leader, because they've got implicit conditions and they've got implicit expectations which they never communicate to you. So you never know where you stand. You're always like trying and trying, but you never reach there. And you know, some leaders take great delight in you know, being this mysterious person that nobody actually understands. Well, this to me is just not right, because it always leaves people emotionally manipulated and controlled to some extent, to some degree, whether it's lesser or a greater degree. Now, we need to communicate clearly what is the expectation and what is the condition. It's like the leader that changes their mind. You know, they express something, but they change their mind halfway through the process. And so you still end up not knowing what you are accomplishing, what you're supposed to accomplish. How do you do it? How do you relate? When do you relate? Where do you relate? You're always left on the outside of that relationship. And that is emotional manipulation. It's a control factor. And we've got to be careful as leaders that we don't use these things to control people. No, let's upfront very clearly communicate what the expectations are. Let's communicate what the relationship is about. Let's communicate if there are conditions. I really believe in an unconditional acceptance. Now, there are conditions to a process. There's conditions when you're journeying with somebody, when you're working on a task. Obviously, there are expectations and there are conditions. But clarify them. Make sure you communicate them clearly before the time. And make sure there's understanding, because that's how you engage those that you're leading. Mentor leaders are able to do that. They are able to clarify, because it's like working with your children at home. You know, you don't have these obscure instructions and hope your child sort of does it. It's like, you know, I worked with one leader and journeyed with him for a few years, and he basically began to teach and instruct and impart a certain way of doing things. And when I started doing what he was teaching and saying, he actually began to accost me. He began to confront me. He began saying, "You're doing it wrong," and started beating me up. And I'm going, I don't understand. This is what you taught. This is how you taught it. This is the spirit in which you taught it. Now suddenly it's wrong. I don't understand. It's like telling your child to go and, you know, for years and years and years, you tell them, this is how this is how your bedroom's got to look. And then one day you walk into the room and start slapping them and saying, "You get your room sorted out. This is not how the room is supposed to be." And the child is going, "What? I don't understand. I don't understand." And that is exactly how it is with leadership. If you're not communicating clearly your instruction, clearly your expectation, and clearly your conditions, what is going to happen is the people that are following, the people that you are leading, are going to have this ambiguity. They're going to have confusion, frustration. They're always on a back foot trying to please you instead of being directed to accomplishing and performing at their peak. You're not engaging them, you're trying to manipulate them and control them. And so we've got to be careful of having this conditional acceptance that we don't communicate. I don't mind leaders having conditions or expectations. Obviously, you've got to. If you're moving and mobilizing a team of whatever sort, in whatever arena, to accomplish a task, to reach a vision, if you're leading them and they're following you, there's obviously going to be expectations for you to reach high performance, to get results, to have impact. But if they're implicit, in other words, you hold back and they've got to be dancing monkeys to fit into your idea and your concept. They have no clue what it is because you've not communicated it. But you make them dance so that you can keep them controlled. This is evil. This is very bad. Bad leader, no engagement, and it's not influence, it's not leadership. It's dysfunctional, it's not leadership. So if you have expectations and you have conditions, communicate them clearly. Let them be explicit, not implicit. If you have conditions, communicate them clearly. So people know how to approach you, know what is required, know what is the limits, where are the limits. Don't punish them for overstretching limits they don't even know about. That is important, because what we do is we punish and they don't know why. And I don't know, I've experienced this from both business and spiritual leaders, and this is just a no-no. So I want to really encourage you is that as a leader, communicate clearly. What is your expectation? And don't change your mind halfway through. If you change your mind, make sure everybody understands where you are going. Thanks, Alex. Good to see you, Keith. Hello, Michael Haswell. Good to see you. Alex, it's so great to have you on. And Darren, great to have you with me as well. So, that's the thought I want to leave with you tonight is, please, be a mentor leader. Have a heart of a dad that says, let me explain, let me help. I want you to grow. I want you to develop. I want you to be the best. This is not about making me the best. It's about us being the best. It's about you being the best. That's the heart of a dad. And so, so communicate clearly, clarify, make sure everybody's on the same page. Don't manipulate. Don't control. Don't get dancing monkeys running to you every 5 minutes to try and clarify what their standing is, because this does not work. This does not work. This is evil, I'm telling you, because what you're doing is you're not empowering, you're disempowering leaders. You're disempowering future leaders. You're disempowering people from reaching their potential. And this is not leadership. Leadership is not just about a bunch of followers. Leadership is about having purpose and allowing people to grow and to develop into their full potential. That's what should be our focus. That's my thought for tonight. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, thanks for the comments. Thanks for coming on and being with me. I love you guys. And give me a thumbs up or a share or tag somebody in it. And we'll see you soon. Cheers.